Hey, nope, didn't like that. Not enough energy. Gotta get up here.
Yeah, I know where we're starting.
Hey, hey, guys. It's Tuesday. Yeah. Hey everybody, it's Tuesday, December the 8th, 2020, and this is the Fourth and Wrong Podcast. I'm your host, RJ, and joining me as always is Keith. Say hi, Keith.
Hi, Keith.
Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. I played on Monday. Da, 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 da. It's really Tuesday. Da, da.
Tuesday, actual Tuesday.
Actual Tuesday.
Put it on a shirt.
Put it on a shirt.
Football happened. Tuesday, actual Tuesday.
Not a 6-point team.
Not a 6-point team. We really got to get the merch line going because we got things.
Yeah.
We got fucking left hash bass. Got fucking
fuck Jarvis Landry.
Yeah, fuck Jarvis Landry. I'll give you that one. Fucking Tuesday, actual Tuesday. Not a 6-point team.
We'll make a Bills version and a Browns version of fuck Jarvis Landry, where one just says fuck Jarvis Landry in red and blue, and the other says I'd in parentheses before it.
I'd fuck Jarvis Landry, yeah. Be like a house divided kind of thing.
Uh-huh. All right, so, I guess we know where this usually starts, so, hey, you're 9-3.
Dog. Check this out. So the Browns have a winning record.
The Cleveland Browns.
The Cleveland Browns, winning record.
Yeah, actually, yes, you officially have a winning season.
Officially cannot have a losing season.
Hey.
We're also one win away from clinching at least a wild card.
Hey.
If we beat Baltimore this weekend.
Oh, yeah? Does that secure it?
That secures at least a wild card.
Does that just, knocks them far enough out of it so that they can't?
Pretty much, yeah. Where they can't recover.
Solid.
So 10 wins, enough for a wild card.
10
as long as Baltimore does their part.
Yep.
Yeah, this game was interesting.
It was fun.
It was fun. So the Browns played the Titans in Tennessee. This was a watershed game for us, I would say, because it was the first time we played a quote-unquote contender since we played Indianapolis, I would argue. And that's one thing I do want to point out. A lot of sports media are very much so, and once again, we know how I feel about sports media, but they're like, oh, well, look who the Browns have played. And it's like, and then they name the Steelers and Baltimore who beat us handily.
Right.
And completely gloss over Indianapolis, who's still in there fighting and chipping and stuff.
Yeah.
And the fact that we were able to beat a team like Houston, who, although coaching staff be damned, still have a lot of talent on that roster. So this game was instrumental for us to finally get the credit. Hey, we're for real kind of thing.
The signature win, if you will.
The signature win. And Cleveland went out and took a 38-7 lead at halftime.
Yeah, it was really gross.
To where all Kevin Stefanski and the Browns had to do after the half was literally Bill Belichick the game.
Yeah, just sit on the fucking ball.
Just sit on the ball. And it was... So we saw something similar out of... We'll talk largely about the game, and then we'll get into some finer details. We've seen this before when the Titans played Pittsburgh, where Pittsburgh got a decent-sized lead, and then Titans were able to crawl back into it. They didn't win, but they were able to crawl back into the game. But Pittsburgh didn't put such a hard lead on the Titans where it completely removed Derrick Henry from the football game.
Cleveland, however,
by halftime, Derrick Henry was basically a non-factor.
Yeah.
One could argue Derrick Henry was a non-factor in the first half of the football game as well. The defense did exactly what they were supposed to do, which was kill Derrick Henry, and then don't give up any more points outside of Derrick Henry.
Yeah. I mean, it's very much what we were talking about in the preview leading into this game was, let's see what that D-line does against Derrick Henry.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And the linebacking core stepped up and were able to fill the gaps, and the defensive line was as disruptive as always. They got 5 QB hits and 3 sacks, and I think it was like 8 or 9 pressures on the game.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of the pressures they were able to get on Tannehill, they also were plugging holes. The whole entire front 7 were just plugging holes. To where Derrick Henry's 60 yards that he had to get him the old-fashioned way, and that was grinding him out.
Yep.
No big chunk yardage, averaged around 4 yards a carry, which is still decent, but by the time Tennessee's offense started rolling a little bit, Derrick Henry couldn't have a major impact on the game.
Oh, it was way too fucking late already.
Yeah.
It was one of the things you saw early on was when Tennessee went for it at the very beginning. I was concerned because I was like, oh, is this really? And they gave it to Derrick Henry to go and take it, and Cleveland just said no.
Nope. And those were the stops we needed, was not allowing them to utilize Derrick Henry's strengths. But then not only were we able to shut down Derrick Henry, Kevin Stefanski did something interesting with our game plan too. He flipped it. He was like, the Titans are most likely going to plan the same way for us that we're planning for them.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just going to throw a bunch.
Yep. Yeah, that was the conversation we were having during the game where it just seemed like you had broken their game plan, kind of like what the Bills did to Seattle a couple weeks ago when Pete Carroll said, we didn't expect them to just give up on the run. I don't think Tennessee was ready for the air attack that just completely demolished them.
Yeah, and it's not even like we gave up on the run either. We still utilize this. One of the key differences between like how the Bills played against Seattle and Cleveland played is like Nick Chubb was just productive enough with the few carries that he had to keep Seattle honest, or to keep Tennessee honest, which is great because how many times have I said that Baker Mayfield is the best off the play action and the bootleg?
Yep, bootleg Baker.
Bootleg Baker.
There's another shirt. Put it on the store.
When he has the whole field in front of him, he's literally one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league. Empirically, this is data. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league on the move. He can make throws that people probably shouldn't be able to make while moving. You even commented on one of his throws where it's like, how did he throw it so flat?
Oh yeah,
jumping into the air.
It wasn't even like off his back foot. It was like off the back pinky toe, if anything was still touching the ground.
Yeah, it was like mid-stride. He was like, this ball needs to go now, and just fucking rockets it into a pocket, into a hole. Like that's the kind of production you're going to get from Baker Mayfield if you keep him moving. And the receivers were just bullying the secondary in that first half. Like there was some routes where it's like that was a clean route. There's a little bit of separation. Baker threw a good ball, and then there were some routes where it's just like, how the fuck?
How did you get that open?
And when you watch it back, it's just like, fuck, that's genius. That's all game plan, and is specifically that's all scheming. That specifically that touchdown to Donovan Peoples-Jones where he that out and up.
He just abused that corner.
Yeah. So Baker Mayfield was rolling to his right, so the corner turned his eyes in and queued up on Baker. And then that's when Donovan Peoples-Jones broke the sideline.
Just a little stop and
go. He went out. So the corner traced him, went out, started checking for the eyes of the quarterback, thinking it was just going to be an out route to Donovan Peoples-Jones because we throw a lot of out routes, and then he fucking turned it upfield, got like 10 yards of separation.
It was stupid.
Like you said, you were like, I could have hit that pass.
Yeah.
Like, all you had to do was not overthrow him, which Baker is capable of doing, and so it was a good enough ball from Baker. But that route was fucking dirty. That whole play was dirty.
Yeah.
Because the motion of the front of the offense pushed all of the secondary in because of that rollout, that play action and that rollout. So the second level cheated up, and then when Baker started moving, the corners cheated up, and then everybody broke open downfield, and there was no safety help, no bracket, no nothing. A similar thing happened with Rashard Higgins on his long touchdown, where it wasn't as dramatic of a double move, but it was like a stop and go, like a little bit of a double move. Same corner, no safety help.
Yep.
And Rashard Higgins, we have a lot of small, fast receivers. We don't have like a big guy. That's why we have tight ends. Rashard Higgins is probably one of the slowest of the small, fast receivers that we have. He has like a 4.5 40 or something like that. And he fucking 2 yards of separation, just like that. Just a quick that corner. I'm sure that corner had a talking to at halftime.
Yeah, like, hey, maybe start looking for new houses.
Yeah. And then even Jarvis Landry got involved again with Baker Mayfield doing his best Jarvis Landry impression with a little toe drag swag on the sideline. So Jarvis Landry, once again, the best quarterback on the team who plays wide receiver.
Yep.
But just a lot of passing production and a lot of a Baker Mayfield that we haven't seen since his rookie year. He's had some standout games this year, I feel like that one game that escapes me now where he only missed like 4 completions and one of those was a spike.
Yeah,
or
right.
one of those was a spike to clock the ball.
Where he went like 21 for 23 or whatever.
Yeah. But this is the Baker Mayfield we can get if everything is, the scheme is right, the team we're playing is right, the offense is feeling good.
I was gonna say the on paper Cleveland Browns offense definitely showed up in this game where it's like, yeah, Baker's just gonna throw 4 touchdowns on you in the first half. I asked you at one point, do you think today Baker's gonna go for the fucking record, because there was still like 6.5 or 7 minutes left in the second quarter and he had already put up 4 touchdowns. It was like, dude's got time now to score more. Now, he didn't throw another touchdown for the rest of the game, but also kind of didn't have to at that point.
Yeah, Nick Chubb had ran one in before the half too,
Yeah.
so it was like, we're up, we have 5 touchdowns and a field goal at this point. I think we're okay. I would have liked, and the second half was kind of a different story, but like I said, it was mostly just about time management and clock management at that point. I would have liked to have seen at least one more like impactful score, like another touchdown after halftime, but it was so, like, even the clock management was so good. The only reason that game was as close as it was is because of a ballsy move. We went, it was like 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, QB sneak. As he's crossing the line, Baker Mayfield gets the ball stripped. Heartbreaking, nothing you can do. But Kareem Hunt chased down that man.
Yeah.
Got him out of bounds, and of course that set up the Tennessee Titans on short field. And Ryan Tannehill, that's one of the best red zone offenses in the league this year. So when they're in the red zone, they're great. Their problem is they were having difficulties getting to the red zone. We gave them some gifts in that second half that made the game closer than it really should have been. To the point where the game basically came down to an onside kick.
Yeah.
Either they got the onside kick and had another chance, or they didn't. They were out of timeouts, and we can just kneel it out. And, of course, onside kicks are historically hard to recover this year.
Yeah.
So both onside kicks attempts we were able to recover, because we recovered the first one, and that's when we fumbled the ball, gave it back to them, and then they were able to, try another onside kick, and we recovered that one as well. So the game probably should have ended 28 or 41-28. Kind of gave him a gift.
Yeah.
But overall, there's still some secondary issues that are concerning, but the style that we were playing in that second half kind of allows for that. Because if you notice, we gave up the middle of the field and we played the sidelines. For 30 minutes of football, we just played the sidelines.
Yep.
Kept the clock moving, kept making them use their timeouts. Pretty much from as soon as our first defensive formation coming out of halftime all the way to the end of the game. We just played the sidelines, let them get whatever they want in the middle of the field. Just don't get beat by the big play and don't let them score fast. They scored really fast on that first possession.
Yeah, it was like 3 plays.
Yep. So that 38 to 7 lead we had, for a moment I was concerned about it. I was genuinely concerned about it. We got a field goal in the third quarter, which helped. But the rest of their possessions in that second half, we were able to control the pace. Even though they were moving the ball effectively, we were able to control the pace for which they moved the ball. And that was just instrumental. You know, it's just so instrumental when you have that big of a lead to protect the lead, not only protecting the lead on the scoreboard, but also protecting the clocks.
Yeah.
And you can look at just the stats from the game. We had 13 more minutes when it came to the time of possession, and that is telling.
Yeah.
And we're also able to prevent turnovers. We won the turnover differential, we won the possession battle, and then ultimately that led to us maintaining the lead on the scoreboard. Tennessee had a couple of turnovers that really hurt them, that we were able to capitalize and turn into points. Derrick Henry put the ball on the ground. A.J. Brown put the ball on the ground twice. One of A.J. Brown's balls on the ground things pissed me off, though, because... So we put the ball on the ground, or he puts the ball on the ground, and then some fucking asshole comes up behind, and he fumbles the ball at like the 1 yard line.
Mm-hmm.
And then it skips off the ground, and some asshole on the Titans team scoops it up and runs it in for a touchdown after we forced the strip.
I did remember this, yeah.
I was like, you motherfucker.
the luckiest bounce I've ever seen in anyone's life, where it was just like right into his arms, full momentum. It was like the Immaculate Reception, but more broken.
Yeah, I
guess would make it not immaculate.
Yeah, I wasn't too keen on that. I don't know who did it, who got that fucking thing, but whoever it was, I'm mad at him. Fuck you. But yeah, we won the turnover battle, and we scored more points than them.
Yep. And Baker didn't even take a sack. But
Baker didn't take a single sack.
Speaking of sacks, there is one man who probably should have had 8 or 9 had he not been held on every single play that we saw.
Yeah, Myles Garrett got done dirty. Because there was probably about 50% of the time where you could, like, the camera stayed on him long enough. About 50% of the time, he was literally, like, fucking back like this, just completely fully wrapped up. You could clearly see
him getting grabbed by either the shoulder, and at one point, like, the face mask, it looked pretty clear.
Yeah. He had his fucking head turned this way, and, like nobody gave Myles Garrett any leeway. And I mentioned it while we were watching the game together that those are the holds that the offensive line likes to see because it keeps Ryan Tannehill from literally being murdered every play.
Yeah. Because
he was getting off the edge so quick. Like you could tell he was fucking hungry because his numbers hurts from missing 2 weeks. He was getting off the edge so fucking quick that if they weren't holding him, then he would have just been a free runner.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Like whoever was playing, and they had him playing right end because Myles Garrett can go wherever he wants at this point. And he felt like he could have bullied that left tackle, and he was fucking right.
Yeah. He was definitely still getting in there and forcing some pressure.
Yeah. So if those holds weren't happening, like Ryan Tannehill probably would have died. Yeah. Like that passing game would have fucking collapsed in that second half, and it happened primarily in the second half where they were pretty much dropping back to pass every snap.
Right. Yep.
Where that could also change the outcome a little bit as far as how effectively they could have moved down the field if you just let Myles Garrett do his thing. But ultimately, it didn't affect the outcome, which is good. It just doesn't look like if to your casual observer of football, you look at this and be like, oh, it was a pretty close game. It wasn't. It really wasn't. Like the other games where I've said, oh, the score was closer than it actually was. This is unequivocally closer than it actually was.
I mean, you guys dropped into that soft zone defense, which drove you fucking crazy.
I hate it. I hate the soft zone. Like, even when I know what they're doing, I hate it. Like,
it's like,
and
look at
Kevin
this prevent
Stefanski.
Bullshit.
Yeah,
you know what prevent does? Prevents you from winning.
And that's what Kevin Stefanski's known for as far as like his late game defensive schemes with the defensive staff that he's accumulated is soften up and just let them get whatever they want in the middle, and we'll just control the clock instead of controlling the field. And I get it, but my football brain, like my football fan brain, just goes, no, you take the ball back and you score more points.
Yeah,
like
don't get away from the thing that got you here.
Yeah, I want a 60 bomb.
Yep.
Because we're gonna go into a tough game in Baltimore because Baltimore is gonna be hungry. because Baltimore's slipping, but they're relatively back to some kind of strength. Lamar Jackson's coming back this week. They got J.K. Dobbins and the other running back,
Mark Ingram.
Woo woo. They got
Yeah, how do you forget about Big Truss?
I don't know. So they got some weapons back. So it's gonna be a tough game against the Ravens. So the Ravens aren't a team, like, say for some reason we explode out into an early lead against the Ravens, which is possible. The Ravens aren't the team that this soft zone shit's going to necessarily work as efficiently with.
No.
The Titans are good. The Ravens are explosive, and that's different.
Yeah.
The Ravens, when they're clicking, they can score quick. Now they've been exposed a little bit this season, but that doesn't mean they're any less talented. So I'm definitely going into, like, we got that identity back. Baker's feeling good. He's playing good. Baker has one of the best. He has a top 5 QBR in the last 5 games of the season, or these last 5 games. Baker's playing good. The running game's playing good. Defense is passable. Sendejo's trying his fucking best to get off my bum list. But we gotta be able. But we gotta put it together. We gotta put it together again next week against Baltimore, and we gotta keep it together. We can't wax and wane going into the last 4 games of the season, because once the playoffs start, like, it's a whole different brand of football.
Yeah.
And it's a brand of football that the Browns are not used to being in. Not this Browns.
No.
So you think games are tough to win in December and January and early January. Like, wait until you get into late January. But I will say that if this is the Baker Mayfield we get for the rest of the season, and this is the rushing game we get for the rest of the season, and the defense just stays consistent and stays competent, not only can we make the playoffs, we can make a push. Like, we can make a splash, and that splash, depending on how other games fall in the playoffs, that splash could be pretty significant. This is a really good Browns football team that I'm finally. It took 12 games for me to go, I am confident that this Browns team can win games.
It only took a 9-3 record.
It only took a 9-3 record. Because before we were just beating the teams we're supposed to beat, right? Mm-hmm. Like, we're supposed to beat the Eagles. We're supposed to beat the Jags. We're supposed to beat the Cowboys. We're supposed to beat the fucking footballers.
Yeah.
Now we're beating teams that, that can pose a challenge. And these are the same teams we're most likely going to see in the playoffs.
Yep.
Like when if the playoffs were to start right now, we would be playing Tennessee.
Yep. Your reward for beating Tennessee is
Tennessee.
I was going to give a real drum roll, but with my microphone sitting on the desk, not going to do that to the audio.
No, I don't think that's advised.
No. Any other notes from this game?
Not from this game particularly. No.
Okay. I mean, any other tendrils from this that last minute thoughts before we move on? Or are we ready to talk about Monday night?
I want to see Donovan Peoples-Jones get a little more involved.
Yeah, he fast.
Yeah, he good. We drafted him in the 6th round last year, and obviously he's playing in an increased role because Odell's hurt.
Right.
And
next man up.
We just put Twan Taylor on IR. And we just signed somebody off of Detroit's practice squad that I can't remember his name, but evidently people are pretty stoked on him. So I'm expecting. Yeah, no, oh. God no, please no. But I expect to see some more of Donovan Peoples-Jones, and if like that kind of production and that kind of crisp route running and misdirection is what we can expect from him, even as a second or even as a third or a rotational slot guy, like that's a lot of value at the 6th round.
It's good. I mean, it's good to have depth. I mean, people get knocked out of games even for a play. So if you want to consistently push, 3 to 5 wide, you're gonna need depth.
Mm-hmm. And that was a problem with us a few weeks ago when Odell first got hurt. We only had 5 active wide receivers that game. And Jarvis was already playing hurt, and then Odell fucked up his knee.
Right.
So like Thank God we have the running backs we do. But, the past few weeks, as far as the wide receiver rotation, has been kind of rough. But it's nice seeing the chemistry between Rashad Higgins and Baker Mayfield carrying over from his rookie year, because last season was, fuck Freddie Kitchens. And if Donovan Peoples-Jones turns out to be like everything that he showed us Saturday or Sunday, then I'm all for it.
Solid.
So tell me about them Bills. I watched a little bit of this game.
Yo, let me tell you about my best friend. He's a tall motherfucker, and he'll score on you till the end. His name's Josh Allen, and he threw for almost 400 yards again, and he threw for 4 touchdowns again, and he had a 130 passer rating again. God damn it, if he's not back in the MVP conversation, you're wrong. Because fucking Russ ain't cooking. The kitchen is closed.
I mean, Baker Mayfield had a 147, but...
Yeah, but we talked about other stuff.
It's my turn.
It's my turn. Josh Allen, first quarterback in Bills history to throw for 80% and 4 touchdowns in a game.
Can I mention something real quick?
Sure.
Since we're talking about history, I forgot. Baker Mayfield, first quarterback since Otto Graham in 1957 to have 4 touchdowns in the first half.
Yep.
Yeah.
He had the help of one Mr. Cole Beasley.
White boy routes.
Easy Beasley, who had his career high at 130 yards receiving, and also now owns the record for most receiving touchdowns by a player 5'8" or shorter.
What a record.
33. Apparently it's enough. Thank you, Wes Welker, for being 5'9", I guess.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so the game itself, we started with the ball. The Bills prefer to defer if they can, but we lost the coin toss, and San Francisco deferred. So we got the ball first, drove all the way down the field, got to 4th and goal, and sucked. Did not get it in. So we left it at like the 4 or 3 yard line. And what did the 49ers do? Well, God damn it, they drove down the entire field, and they got to 4th and goal, and they sucked. So we got the ball back. And what did we do?
And what did you guys do?
We immediately fumbled and suck again. So
I will say the first part of this game that I watched, it was not promising.
No. It's great. It was great for defensive scoring, not great for defense. So then the Niners turned around and punched it in, and I was honestly very concerned to start off with, because I was like, well, if this is gonna be the way things fucking go today, this is
precedent.
This is not gonna be real hot. I don't want to be down 7-0 giving shit up in the end zone.
Yeah, that Zach Moss fumble was pretty ugly too.
Yeah, so Zach Moss got severely benched after that. I believe that was his last carry of the game, or he maybe had one more because he only had 3 total.
Yeah.
But
you gotta. That's why they always tell you the ball, when it hits your chest, is when you grab it.
Yeah. Yeah. He tried to close his hands before the ball was there. Not a good move.
Nope. Punched it right into a 49ers linebacker.
Yeah. It was pretty sweet. But we, after that point, the defense kicked in, and we proceeded to just keep putting up points. We didn't have a punt until the 4th quarter. Only one of our possessions ended in not scoring, and when we can get on a roll like that, it's really great. We had a great touchdown pass to Cole Beasley, where he just kind of stopped right on the goal line and just kind of fell in. We had a Dawson Knox diving touchdown from about 10 yards out. We had a little sweep move by Isaiah McKenzie where he just got like wide the fuck open on the left side of the field and was just basically in the end zone by the time anybody reacted. And then Gabe Davis straight up burned Richard Sherman at one point because they were playing some sort of zone coverage and the safeties didn't rotate to help. So he was open by like 10 or 15 yards. So, the ball was getting around to a bunch of people. Everybody was scoring. The
Yeah, it
defense
seems
was
like
standing up, and I got the Trey Day interception that I was waiting for. I was like, all right, buddy, come on. We need at least one of these to secure this game. We need some sort of turnover. And he was like, yo, I got you.
it's Trey Day. Yeah, and it seemed like Josh Allen was going very much with the whoever's open approach, which is nice.
Yeah, Stephon Diggs didn't break 100, so I guess a down game. But he's already now over 1,000 yards on the season. So he's got less than 125 to go. And he's got 4 games to do it in to beat his career high. So
It's still definitely out there. It's definitely possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the didn't. So you got 4 touchdown passes out of Josh Allen.
Yes.
But none of them was to an offensive lineman. What gives?
It wasn't their turn. Actually, we did our 4th down play at the very beginning that didn't work. Josh Allen threw it behind Lee Smith, who's our tight end, but we did have a lineman rolling out on that play. So we went for a trick play to try and get it to somebody, but they had it covered. So yeah, just not this week, I guess. The run game was largely insignificant, but when Josh is throwing the way he was, I've got no problem just letting the man fucking sling it. And also, Zach Moss and Devin Singletary very early on in the game were both shaken up in, different ways. So I'm not sure what kind of condition they were in. I was actually legitimately concerned about Devin Singletary for a minute because he went down grabbing his knee. But then a couple minutes later, he popped back up and was running up and down the sideline. So seemingly all right. We also saw the return of Matt Milano in a limited capacity back off IR. And AJ Klein had a down game, so I think Matt Milano is taking his white linebacker powers back. But, we'll see. The AJ Klein was still in there for the vast majority of the snaps. I would not be surprised if it kind of stays that way. We generally only run 2 linebackers at any given time. But
you guys kind of do this like 4-2-5 thing.
Yeah, but we've got a good rotation now at this point. So I mean, I'll take it.
Yeah,
and honestly,
AJ Klein's definitely shown. He's definitely shown competence in taking over that position with Matt Milano being hurt for as long as he has.
Yeah,
this is the first week in the past 3 or 4 weeks of talking about Bills football where we haven't had anything extraordinary to say about the man. So
right,
I think that that yields pretty positive.
Yeah, definitely trending upward for a guy who we got like off a practice squad basically. But yeah, I mean, honestly, overall, just a solid game. Like, we showed up and, after a couple early struggles, we really put together a full game. And that's kind of been the commentary. It was like, hey, you want to know what the Bills look like when they put 4 quarters together? It's this.
Yeah, that first quarter a little bit slow, and then once they started rolling downhill, it's like pushing the boulder off the cliff kind of thing. The one thing I will say that surprised me, and it's actually more of a commentary to how well the 49ers are doing right now in their current situation, considering they literally have 60 million people on injury reserve.
No Garoppolo, no Kittle, no Bosa.
Yeah, they have 13 players on IR right now.
Jesus.
Is if they could have controlled their turnovers, which is also a credit to the Bills secondary, Micah Hyde and Trey White both had fantastic interceptions that game.
God, Micah Hyde's run back. I actually somehow forgot about that, but yeah, he ran that thing back about 30 yards.
Yep. If the 49ers could have kept their turnovers in control, this game was actually competitive, and it could have stayed more competitive. They seem to have adjusted well. Nick Mullins was moving the ball efficiently. The running game was kind of here nor there, but they're kind of running by committee right now, which is fine. When you have Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert both in the backfield, they're both good, competent backs. But when the Bills really and that was really kind of one of the key things when it came to moving the ball a lot that I noticed early in the game was, once again, the Bills stopping shit up the A-gap, just not really a thing.
Still can't do it.
But when you go up 17-7 at the half, they start leaning on that passing game more, take the running game a little bit out of the equation, and then the Bills' secondary was really able to clamp down. Controlling those turnovers, I think the game was competitive. I really enjoyed watching this game.
Yeah, and honestly, even with how they started going in the running game, they really didn't put that much together. Like, they got over 100 yards as a team, but nobody had more than 50 nobody even had 50 rushing yards.
Yeah.
Amongst them. So, though their averages are not insignificant. Yeah. So when they did go to the running game, it continues to be successful, and I really don't know how many years in a row I have to say the Bills need to stop the fucking run game in the A-gap before Sean McDermott figures that out. It's like Sean McDermott's got two blind spots. It's that fucking A-gap and its challenges. If he could figure that out, we'd be perfect. Because he's got Dayball to run the offense, and that shit's humming at this point.
Right.
And he's got Bean getting him more players. So, yeah, seriously, Sean, figure out these two fucking things. Ugh.
I will say, though, on top of that, your only 3 losses this season. The only team that had a rusher over 100 yards in your only 3 losses this season was the Cardinals, and that was Kenyon Drake. And they didn't even win with the running game. It was the Hail Murray.
Right.
So, although we both recognize that it is a deficit as far as, like, the complete defensive package, it hasn't really affected the win-loss total much.
It's because that offense is putting up well more than 20 points a game this season.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of taking the early Pat Mahomes Kansas City approach before their Super Bowl run.
Yeah.
Where it's like, well, if Pat Mahomes just scores 5 touchdowns a game, we don't really need a defense.
Yeah.
So.
If we score a touchdown every time, that means you have to score a touchdown every time.
Mm-hmm. And as long as you have a competent defense, that's unlikely.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, Nick Mullins kind of impressed me.
I thought he looked good.
For a backup. Did you know the stat that they showed at the beginning of it, where through his first 13 games, he's 3rd on the all-time list in passing yards?
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah. The only 2 in front of him are Pat Mahomes and Andrew Luck through their first 13.
Wow.
So, I mean, the dude can move the ball, credit to him. It was definitely something where I underestimated him going into it, of just like, oh, it's the backup.
Mm-hmm. Well, the big thing we always hear about Nick Mullins is his turnovers. He doesn't protect the ball.
Mm-hmm.
He is,
I'll be honest, I had heard almost nothing about Nick Mullins going into this game. So,
I think on the season this year he has 9 turnovers. He has 9 interceptions. It's 9 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. So he's split and even now with this Bills game.
Mm-hmm.
Is 9 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. But like, his completion percentage is fine, his yardage is fine. He's finding open receivers. It's just like every so often he throws one out there. And when you play a team like Buffalo is very predatory on the turnover.
Yeah.
You just can't.
And the one was very much not his fault, because it hit his receiver like in the face, and then it bounced off of AJ Klein's arm, and then Micah Hyde caught it off the tip and then went,
what just happened?
Where am I going? Like, you could see the Madden camera swinging around in his head of like, all right, we're going this way now.
Yeah.
And one other thing I'd like to point out, if we're talking about turnover stats, Josh Allen in his career still has yet to throw an interception in the red zone.
Nice. I wish I could say the same thing about Baker.
Yeah. Well, Baker's just, again, step 1, hit the open guy in the end zone. Then step 2, worry about the interceptions.
Yeah, as long as step 1 is the same color jersey as you, I agree.
Bing! But that's about all I've got on the game, unless you've got any other questions or commentary about it. It's the first time we've won on Monday night this century.
That was going to be my comment.
Yeah.
Congratulations on your first Monday night win in literally 100 years.
And the Bills are 6-0 in games when Josh Allen has 300 or more passing yards this season.
Yeah, duh.
You know. And we redeemed ourselves in the desert. Desert
Hell
redemption.
Yeah. Desert Redemption. And I made this comment to you early in the game. I find it funny that they couldn't convince the ground crew to repaint the field for the 49ers. That's kind of fucked up.
Well, apparently they had to spend like literally all day just putting it back together from the day before while also prepping the practice field for the Cardinals. So
Yep. And putting out like, because they still had like the 49ers like banner walls and everything up and shit in the stands and stuff, but it was very it was weird watching that game. Because it was like Bills 49ers, and there's Arizona in the end zones, and a big ass Cardinal head in the 50-yard line. I was like, you know what? Good for Arizona for, you know, hooking San Francisco up so they can finish their fucking season.
Right.
And it was interesting seeing, like, because occasionally the camera would pan up to like the IR bench,
right.
Where it's just all of the players that could travel with the team but can't play.
Yep.
And it's just like George Kittle and Jimmy G up there, face masks on, just like watching. Like,
did you see the one motherfucker in the background that was literally chewing on his mask?
Yeah.
Like by the end of the game, he's like down around it, like down off his nose, chewing on the top of it. I'm like, dude, you're doing this so wrong.
That's not.
There's like a number of things. Like you're only doing
food.
You're only doing one thing, but there's about 5 things I need to correct here.
Like they'll bring you food, dude.
Fuck. But yeah, that's all I got on the Bills.
Yeah, it was a fun game.
I would like to jump to another game in my division next.
Let's do it.
I want to talk about just briefly the Raiders and the Jets, because the Jets damn near almost won a game, and then Greg 3G Williams said, "Nuh-uh, we ain't gonna win this one."
Nope.
And then somehow before Adam Gase, Greg 3G Williams got fired.
See, that was the thing that I was gonna kind of. Okay, so for the people that don't know, the Jets were gonna win this game.
The Jets were gonna win this game.
And then Greg Williams called a zero blitz
with 13 seconds left.
With 13 seconds left, Henry Ruggs got all kinds of fucking open because he's just fast.
He's just fast.
And Derek Carr stepped up and put a fucking beautiful ball on him.
Mm-hmm.
No safety help, no nothing. It was straight up manned up zero blitz. I am not surprised because I've had Greg Williams as my defensive coordinator.
Hey, me too.
And Greg Williams has won us games calling zero blitz the last play of the game.
Mm-hmm.
He's also lost us games calling zero blitz last play of the game. But it's very on brand for Greg Williams. Greg Williams' defensive philosophy is very simple.
Go get him.
4-3 downhill.
Yeah.
Go get him.
Go get him.
And then but the problem with that philosophy is you have to pretty much have Pro Bowl level corners. You have to have islands for corners.
Yeah, which worked for him in New York for a while, I believe. Well, no, I don't think he had. I forget all the places he was because he's been around. He's been with the Saints. He's been with you. He's been with us.
Yeah, it worked for him when he won a Super Bowl with the Saints because they had an all-star defense.
Yeah.
It kind of worked with us, but that's only because it only really worked with us when we were playing lesser talent. It worked the best with us whenever Hugh Jackson got fired and he took over as the interim coach because he still only had to focus on defensive play calling because that's when Freddie Kitchens took over as the offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
But because of Freddie Kitchens' play calling within the Hugh Jackson system, because we didn't switch systems, Baker Mayfield just came out of the fucking gates like a fucking cannon, like shot out of hell. So we were just outscoring people. So we were allowed to be more aggressive on defense.
Yeah.
But there's 12 seconds left on the clock. And you don't have Darrelle Revis anymore back there. You don't have people like that back there.
I mean, you don't even have Jamal Adams back there.
You don't even have Jamal Adams anymore. But the fact that only Greg Williams got fired blows my fucking mind.
Yeah.
in no way is Adam Gase responsible for his coaching staff.
Nah.
That's what this organization has just told me. Adam Gase is not responsible for the decisions of the coordinators that he hired. Adam Gase hired Greg Williams, and he is not responsible for that choice.
I don't know, like, what blackmail Adam Gase has on the entire league, but...
Dude, seriously, man. Like, we see what's happening in Miami right now with Adam Gase out of the picture.
Yeah. They're succeeding, like, a lot.
Yeah. We're seeing what Ryan Tannehill's doing with the Titans not being coached by Adam Gase.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen the success from a Greg Williams defense. He's a good defensive coordinator. He's just really aggressive.
Especially when he's paying off those fines.
All this is telling me is that the Jets do not believe that Adam Gase is responsible for his own staff's decisions. And that blows my fucking mind.
We've really got to be at a point where the Jets are like, fuck it, pull the plug, let's go get Trevor. Like, I think...
100%.
Like, they've got to be done with Darnold at this point.
Yeah. I think, man, that had to have been what Greg Williams was trying to do subconsciously. He didn't think he was going to get fired over it.
Yeah.
He's like, I was trying to help you guys. What the fuck? Like, you guys were the offense was about to ruin our tank.
Yeah.
I fixed it.
Yeah.
Why am I fired? Fire Adam Gase.
You guys, we damn near won this one. Do you see me pull us out of that?
Yeah, the fuck is wrong with you people? Trevor Lawrence is literally right here.
Deserve a fucking award. Yeah.
Yeah, and poor Sam Darnold, man. Like, his fucking
the second casualty.
His progression. Yeah, his progression in the NFL has been awful. Like, already got drafted into an awful organization, but then he got stuck with Adam fucking Gase. I mean, and then was benched for Joe Flacco.
That's kind of the crazy thing that people forget about the Bills is, like, we started that draft with the 21st and 22nd pick, not the 7th.
Right.
Like, we gave up and maneuvered a lot to get into the top 10 to go get Josh. Mm-hmm. So, you know, as far as the organization, and you know, you guys won out by already having Myles Garrett and then having 2 first-round picks in the top 5, which is fucking absurd. That's some Madden bullshit where you're like, yeah, I'm getting rid of this 36-year-old who I know won't get progression points anymore type move.
That's why we went 1-31, baby.
You know, and then I mean the Jets moved up.
No, we suffered for those picks.
Yeah, but
that draft capital hoarding cost us 2 seasons of potentially decent football.
Yeah, you're lucky you didn't like kill Myles Garrett in those first 2 seasons.
Oh man, almost did. His rookie year, he got a high ankle sprain, missed almost half the season.
Yeah, but. He's ridiculous.
That's what cost him fucking defensive rookie of the year. Is he only played for like 8 games, but in those 8 games he got like 9 sacks.
Right. But I've really got nothing else to take away from this game.
Yeah, I mean that's the only takeaway is why the fuck every week why does Adam Gase still have a job?
And as far as the Raiders are concerned, Darren Waller is ridiculous and completely underrated in the league. Like
Darren Waller had himself a day.
200 yards, 2 touchdowns on 13 receptions. Not bad.
Not bad. It's nice to have big, sure-handed tight ends.
Yeah. All right, let's bounce to another one of my divisional opponents. Let's briefly touch on the ass-whooping that the Patriots handed to the Chargers and your redemption saga of not having to eat a fistful of feathers.
Justin Herbert's garbage.
Yeah, apparently he's trash.
But more so, the Patriots won a game with neither of their quarterbacks throwing for 100 yards. Not only did they win a game, they won a game 45-0. With their starting quarterback only throwing for 69 yards and their backup, who came in garbage time, throwing for 61.
Cam Newton didn't even throw for a Cam Newton.
Not only did Cam Newton not throw for a Cam Newton, he got 69 yards and 12 completions. Jarrett Stidham got 61 and 2.
Yeah. What?
I guess that's what happens when you how many scores they get off special teams? 3?
I guess I didn't even.
It was like 2 or 3 special team scores. They had a kick 6, like a punt return field goal or a punt return touchdown. Like it was everything the Chargers could do to get out of their own fucking way.
And I know McCourty had a pick six.
Yeah.
Or a fumble recovery for a score, one of the two.
Yeah, it was something. Fuck, man.
But yeah, I figured I'd give you an opportunity to shit on Justin Herbert a little bit.
Yeah, and what's even better is Tua Tagovailoa actually had a really good game. So
we're getting there next.
I win. You suck.
We'll give it a couple more years before we go declaring anything. If the draft class of our quarterbacks has taught us anything, it's give them a little bit. Maybe somebody's accuracy will jump by 10 points in 3 years. Who knows?
Yeah, right.
Or 15, like from where he started. Josh Allen's biggest problem is his accuracy. He'll never get that fixed.
Turns out the solution was give him a receiver that can run under his cannon.
Well, okay, so here's the other thing. Josh Allen was on Pat McAfee for like a solid 25-minute interview last Friday.
Cool. I missed that.
And he was talking about I don't know if it was this last season or before that. I think it was this last off season. He went and got his full like mechanics mapped and everything. Mm-hmm. And he was like, as they were going through the quarterbacks, they were all like, oh, this is great. You're going through your hips. It comes up through your arm. It goes out through your hand. All right, it's great. It's coming through your hips. Your rotation's great. It's coming out. Your release point's good. And then they got to Josh and they were like, we don't know how the fuck you're doing what you're doing because your arm and hand are going out in front of your hips and your whole shit is fucked up.
Yeah. Well, wasn't it Brett Coleman that did a mechanics breakdown of?
He was one of them, yeah.
It was either him or Set the Edge, one of those two channels on YouTube.
I think they both did, actually.
Yeah, where Josh Allen kind of has this hop step now to turn his hips in.
He's got
actually squares
the Aaron Rodgers hop set.
Yeah, and just so he can just get his hip square and actually put touch on the ball instead of just meeting his way through it like he normally did.
Yeah. So yeah, they were legitimately like, we don't know how your mechanics work because they don't.
Yeah. Well, he played for a shit college and against shit college teams. So
yeah. He also had a great part of the interview where he was talking about how growing up and stuff, he was always the smaller guy. That's why he throws his body around now because he never had it before. Yeah. It's like, fuck it.
He's proud of it.
Yeah.
He's white Cam Newton. I've been saying it for years.
Yep. And he's now, other than Cam, the only other quarterback to have, I think it was 50 passing touchdowns and 20 rushing touchdowns in the first 3 seasons.
Nice.
So
I'm surprised Lamar Jackson didn't get on that.
Lamar doesn't run for that many touchdowns is the thing. Josh Allen's a red zone threat. Lamar's just good to scramble on you for 30 yards.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. But moving on, let's talk about your division and my division. But 2 other teams. The Tua story continues as they beat the Burrowless Bengals.
Yeah. Tua had a solid game.
I feel like Tua consistently puts up like solid passing yards, but then somehow comes away with like 1 touchdown or 0 touchdowns. Or 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, from what I've seen from him, there's obviously some red zone things they need to clean up that just come with experience. I think that's one of the biggest stark contrasts we get between when Tua is in the red zone and when Ryan Fitzpatrick is in the red zone with the same exact lineup. Is Ryan Fitzpatrick has the experience and wherewithal to know where to look.
Yeah.
In the back of the end zone. That's something that most of the time. That's something that kind of develops in the NFL. That's very different from playing in college, because in college, even in the red zone, a lot of teams are still doing shit out of the spread, or they're still doing things out of the shotgun and stuff like that. When you're in a heavy formation, with you got a 2-back heavy formation and you're doing a play action rollout and you got 2 receivers to read from. It's a little different than just trying to confuse the secondary and the backfield the way they used to do in college when he played for Alabama. But the thing that I saw from Tua is after being benched for a lack of production, he comes out and puts together a solid game.
Comes back and produces. I mean, it's a good team to do it against, considering it's the Bengals. But
Yeah. Especially the Burrow-less Bengals. But there's still obviously a lot of things that the Dolphins need to clean up if they're going to be competitive later in the stretch. I'm convinced that Tua will be a solid quarterback option in the NFL. It's all about development. I don't know how competitive. From what I've seen out of Tua in this offense, even though I think he's going to win Rookie of the Year hands down, I don't know how productive this Dolphins will be in the postseason versus having Fitzpatrick out there.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be different. I mean, Miami's still got to come through us one more time at the end of the season. So, I mean, they've still got a couple decent challenges ahead of them.
Yeah, they still got to play. Well, they play the Chiefs this coming week, and then they play the Raiders, and then close out the season with you.
Yeah.
I mean, they also play the Patriots, but the Patriots are so hit and miss this season. Like, I don't even know if that's going to be a good game or a bad game. Traditionally, Miami does decent against the Patriots, so we'll see.
Yeah, and they're playing the Patriots at home. Yeah, the Dolphins have got this weird thing where it's like, yeah, come to Miami at the end of the season. We'll find a way to beat you.
Yeah, we'll fuck you up. It's hot.
Yeah. And then, Miami's got to close the season on the road in Buffalo. So, after going all the way to Vegas.
Yeah, well, that makes me wonder. That makes me curious. I'm going to check something real quick.
Okay, what are you checking? So we can vamp for a little bit.
Yeah, well, because they got a tough schedule coming up. They really do. I just want to see... So, yeah, they're 8-4 with 3 very difficult games coming up.
And a fourth that's a coin flip.
Yeah, and a fourth that's a coin flip. So, I mean, the Colts and the Raiders are probably praying that the Dolphins start slipping against those tougher opponents.
Yeah.
Because the Colts are sitting at 8-4 and the Raiders are sitting at 7-5. Because the wild card right now is us with the first spot, the Dolphins with the second spot, and the Colts with the third spot. So, the Raiders want the Falcons or want the Dolphins to do a little something.
Yep.
Blow a little something, and the Ravens really. The Ravens need the Dolphins to get their shit
second.
Out.
Yeah.
Yeah. We could possibly get 2 wildcard teams out of the AFC North this year.
And we could possibly get 2 out of the AFC East.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, not 2 wildcard teams.
Yeah.
Two divisional teams that are both not the Patriots. Wouldn't that be an AFC fucking playoff bracket?
I would cry. That'd be hilarious.
Those are all the games that I wanted to touch on. Do you have any more you wanted to go over?
I do. I got a couple.
Okay.
So we're gonna bounce from your division to your division and my division to just my division.
To just your division.
Because those crazy fuckers up in Washington, D.C. footballers land.
Duh. Yes, I did. Obviously, we got to talk about this one.
Decided to go out in Heinz Field against the undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers and win a fucking football game.
The Alex Smith redemption story. Who's really the best comeback quarterback?
Alex Smith is officially my favorite quarterback in the NFL. I am going to get a Cleveland Browns Alex Smith jersey. Custom made because what the Washington Redskins... What the Washington footballers just did...
No, I'm leaving it in.
...was... I apologize. They had just cracked the door of the AFC North.
Yep.
They have just cracked the door. They've shown they saw the chinks of armor we had been seeing on the Steelers all season, and they ripped that armor off, and then they cracked the door open for the AFC North. And guess who's in prime position only 2 games back?
It's the Browns.
It's the Cleveland motherfucking Browns. What a time to be alive, RJ.
Yeah, the footballers of all people to be the ones to take this game.
The 4-7 Washington football team are trying to win a division.
Well, apparently all of their division decided to try and get good at the same time.
Except for the Eagles. Yeah, like and that's what's cool about this game also is now we have like a divisional race in the NFC East that's actually interesting to watch because the Giants have figured something out.
Yeah.
And the Washington footballers have seemed to have figured something out. And the Cowboys still have a really easy schedule closing out the year.
Yep.
So like we're now in a 3-team race to see who's taking that division wild card or that division playoff spot.
And then there's the Eagles.
Who we're going to talk about a little bit because we can't not talk about the Eagles.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was just so good.
Yeah, and Pittsburgh closes out with us next Sunday in prime time. The Bengals, which they'll probably walk all over. The Colts, and then you. So, I mean, they could still end up 12-4, and if you run the table here at the end,
13-3. There it is.
It's all. So you gotta win out and hope for some help. But like the division is not out of reach for Cleveland, which is insane.
It's fucking madness to think about. Like when I was watching or when I was texting you during that game yesterday, like the reason why I was screaming via text is because I was screaming in real life.
Yeah.
Because if Pittsburgh would have won this game, the division would pretty much have been out of reach for us and the Ravens.
Yeah.
Like there had to have been catastrophic failure at the Pittsburgh level if they won this game. But like it cracks the door, and I'm unironically in a position right now where the Browns are literally one game away from clinching a wild card, and only 2 games back from winning their first divisional title in 2.5 decades.
I mean, yeah, same for the Bills.
It's madness. It's fucking. But some could argue the Bills' path to a divisional title this year is a little easier than ours.
I would still say that the Steelers have only played like 2 real teams all season.
Right, but
honestly, how real are the Ravens at this point?
Really, yeah, true. I'm just more in the perspective of like where we are in our respective divisions.
Yeah. Because
you guys have Miami chomping at the bit, but Miami are still trying to figure some shit out. We're 2 games back from the Steelers, who are the Steelers. And like you said, though, the Ravens, nobody really knows what's going on. But one of my favorite things about this whole thing, though, is Mike Tomlin's response. Because I like Mike Tomlin. I really do. Mike Tomlin pretty much said, candidly, we didn't deserve it. We didn't deserve to win. If you can't get a yard, you don't deserve to win.
Yep.
We suck. Our team sucks. Juju sucks. Ben Roethlisberger sucks. Chase Claypool's all right.
Well, yeah, he was like, I'm sick of players not making like completable plays. Basically,
yeah.
They've also had 13 dropped passes in the last 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, and that's pretty much his commentary was like, we've been playing sloppy for the past like fucking almost month worth of football now. It's about time we actually lost one. We deserved it. Yeah. We have not deserved to win a football game in almost a month. And I was just like, fuck yeah, Mike Tomlin.
I mean,
tell him how it is.
I was going to say, if Mike Tomlin is nothing else, that motherfucker keeps it real.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right.
And then...
Yes.
And then the only other game I really want to talk about, because the rest of it, there's 2 really. I want to speak briefly on the Atlanta and the Saints game.
Just real quick, touching on this last game we were talking about. I think this seals it for me that Alex Smith is the comeback quarterback of the year or comeback player of the year.
If he doesn't win comeback player of the year, then
this was Ben's shot, and then he got beat by the other contestant. So that's it.
That's it. Real quick, Saints and Falcons. Taysom Hill looked good. He got his finally got his first touchdown pass in the NFL, and then preceded that with another one. So
another one.
But he was still out there running around and stuff, being productive in the running game. Alvin Kamara got himself a touchdown. A tight one against the Falcons.
I was going to say, this score, does it say more about the Falcons or the Saints that it was so low scoring?
I think that says a lot more about the state of the Saints currently. With Sean Payton literally doing what he does anytime he's been undefeated with a backup quarterback, which is all time, by the way.
Yeah.
Is do enough to win.
Yeah.
And then Atlanta does this weird thing that they did last season where they decided to put it all together and just hurt draft stock at the end of the year.
Yeah, like way too late.
Yeah, so they're doing that. But then we got Minnesota Vikings and Jacksonville Jaguars.
Okay.
And for two reasons. A, Kirk Cousins is probably the deadliest fourth quarter quarterback ever right now. Statistically.
Have you heard of Josh Allen?
I have heard of Josh Allen. But I know I make a lot of jokes about Tua, and I make a lot of jokes about Justin Herbert.
Mm-hmm.
But if Justin Jefferson does not win Offensive Rookie of the Year, there's something seriously wrong with... Let's put it to you this way. Obviously, he's a rookie. He's fourth in the league in passing yards or receiving yards. He has 7 touchdowns on the year. So he's already eclipsed 1,000 yards receiving in his rookie year. He's the best rookie receiver in franchise history since Randy Moss. It's a no-brainer at this point. With Justin Herbert's dip in production and everybody else kind of like playing okay for rookies besides Tua, but Tua's like on a whole other league. They're gonna have like his own award at the end of the year. It's the Tua Award. Yeah, Justin Jefferson. I had the opportunity to watch a fair amount of him yesterday or Sunday, and he is just impressive. He is different. He's fucking big-ish. He kind of fits like that Josh Gordon kind of size. He's like 6'1", 6'2", 200 pounds, nice and physical, but still fast, but can still get up on the high point of the ball. He's not like a Randy Moss prototype where he's just big and fast. Like he's a shifty fucker. And he's just been really impressive over the past couple weeks. I've been able to watch him. His ability to run routes, he has sure hands, not a lot of drops. And he's already made a splash in the league. If he doesn't win Offensive Rookie of the Year, then the game's rigged.
So what I'm hearing is everyone should do their absolute best to trade for the Bills' first-round draft pick.
Yeah, because you'll get a Justin Jefferson.
Or you'll get a Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
God damn it. I thought we were doing good. Traded my first-round draft pick, and all I got was this stupid Trey White and Stephon Diggs.
Oh, man.
Any other teams you want to talk about? Any other games?
Yeah, we got to talk about the Eagles a little bit.
Yeah.
I got to get my daily shit on the Eagles.
I was saving that one little bit of news until last. We're trying to.
Well, yeah, it's pretty much last for me. It's the last game I want to talk about. So
cool. Talk about it.
Carson Wentz finally got benched.
Carson Wentz is benched. Yeah, Jalen Hurts is officially going to start against the Saints.
Mm-hmm. Yep, he's like benched.
Mm-hmm.
And Jalen Hurts, although numbers aren't impressive, if you go back and watch that game, something obviously changed when Jalen Hurts hit the field. They call it. Some people call it like the backup effect.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when like the backup quarterback comes in, suddenly the offense is good. We saw there was a spark. There was a spark there when Jalen Hurts took over. Like I said, statistically not great, but he went out there, made some decent throws, made some good reads, got a touchdown,
and a pick.
He did throw one of them. But he's also a little bit more dynamic. I feel like he's a little bit more dynamic on his feet than Carson Wentz is. Just an overall athleticism. But the big thing is because Jalen Hurts is so inexperienced, he's not going to fucking play rookie fucking hero ball. He's not going to fucking go out there and try to win the game all by himself with his arm. And so not only has Carson Wentz been benched and he's not starting in the next game, Jalen Hurts has the start. There's a lot of reports now coming from like the Eagles in general that like evidently Carson Wentz is like an insufferable locker room locker room energy because of his early success in the NFL. He kind of has this aura of I already know it kind of attitude.
Right, look at me, I've got a Super Bowl already.
Yeah, that's kind of starting that you didn't win for yourself. That's
Yep.
starting to really wear thin with some people in the Philly organization. Now, these claims are unsubstantiated, but
We're going to repeat them.
I'm going to repeat it because I just look at Carson Wentz's face and I just go, you know what? He looks like an asshole.
That face screams insufferable to me.
Uh-huh. Now, I don't necessarily... well, because I also had to hear about it, like, whenever like we passed up on Carson Wentz and Jared Goff. You know, we traded down. And then the first game we play that season was against Philly. Carson Wentz starting, and they fucking destroy us.
Right.
So, like, I've been hearing it for years. Like, oh, you passed up on Carson Wentz. Like, well, guess what? Carson Wentz ain't even that fucking good. So
Turns out, might have dodged a bullet.
yeah, so might have dodged a bullet. Like I said, those claims are unsubstantiated, but evidently his fight against adversity has rubbed some people the wrong way in the locker room with his attitude. But all the other reports claim that he's a good teammate or whatever. I just should have been benched fucking weeks ago.
Yeah. And I mean, the Eagles continue to find themselves in a fucking rough place with his contract. So, I mean, it's kind of like, what do you do?
Well, and that's really the big thing too. Is like you pretty much have to. Next year is the last year of guarantees on his contract, so you have to hold on to him for at least another year, in order to avoid like any significant cap penalties. There's still going to be cap penalties if you cut him after next season.
$60 million in dead money if they cut him.
But there's $60 million in guarantees for next season.
Yeah.
And it seems like Carson Wentz has had pretty much because he got that franchise tenure, he got that extension. It's appeared through the media and through that organization that he's pretty much had, you know, the owner of the Eagles on speed dial. And that's another contributing factor to why it took him so long to get benched, was because the ownership was pressuring the coaching staff to keep him in because they're spending all this money on him. But it's like, you want to win games, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, eventually, if you're an owner, you're still supposed to be a businessman, and you should know when the venture is lost.
Yeah, but I think it's the right choice.
Yeah, definitely. How they adjust to that, I don't know what the hell they're gonna do, but I think moving. I mean, again, Carson Wentz is damaged goods as far as I'm concerned, and I've said it on this podcast several times, and. I was like, I'm starting to see, you know, again, we were starting to see more of the national media pick up on that at this point, where a couple weeks later, it's people coming out saying Carson Wentz is done. And, you know, just saying, I saw this shit coming.
Yeah.
Seen this shit coming since he won a Super Bowl, basically.
Yeah.
We got anything else we want to talk about?
Quick update as far as the Browns roster is concerned. Wyatt Teller is now on the COVID-19 list.
Oh. Womp.
This is current of about 3 hours ago. No positive test, but he close contact. So they're doing contact tracing, so he is most likely going to be out for the Ravens game.
He's got plenty of... doesn't he only have to pass 2 tests or something? He's got to get 2 consecutive negatives?
It's 2 consecutive negatives after a certain period.
Okay. Well...
but he still could, because the Ravens game is on a Monday, he still could be eligible. But we'll see. It's all going to be pending testing. What that does mean is he's not going to be allowed in the facility and blah, blah, blah. But it's not like the Browns are practicing much anyways, because like every other week, our fucking training facility's closed.
Yeah.
Because we're one of the few teams that, I don't know, take this shit seriously, I guess. Every single time we've gotten anything close to a positive test, both us and the NFL are like, nope, shut it down. Practice from home. Go do some snaps with your daughter or something.
Yeah.
And then, like I said earlier in the show, Twan Taylor is on IR and is probably going to miss the rest of the season.
What's he out with?
I don't know, actually.
So he might be back for the end of the season. Again, 3-week IR.
Yeah, he's out for at least 3 games. So.
All right, well, cool. If that's everything...
Adam Gase is still the coach of the Jets.
Somehow.
That doesn't make any sense.
This has been the Fourth and Wrong podcast for December the 8th, 2020. Thanks for listening, and say goodbye, Keith.
Goodbye, Keith.
I don't know how that's going to look at the end.